If World War III ever happened, and maybe we're in World War III, I'm not sure. We're definitely in some kind of a proxy war right now. But the biggest disruption that Americans here would feel would be gas shortages. Supplies in the stores would be gone. Companies would shut down and they'd be producing not just our every ordinary day needs, but things that might be for the war. And most families wouldn't find that the war itself was disrupting their daily life, but they would find that they just aren't prepared for not having their basic necessities met. So the good thing is you don't really need a bunker or a lot of money to be prepared for World War III. You just need some basic supplies that are really simple and easy to get pretty quickly. So the first thing that you need, it's the most important item that you need to store, and that is because you just can't live without it, and that is water. Not only do you need it for drinking, but you're going to need it to wash your clothes, to brush your teeth. You're going to need it if the toilets aren't working, just to get the toilets to flush in your house, because water can get disrupted. We just can't live without it, right? So 3 days is about all you can live without water, and people are going to flip out really quickly if they don't have water. So that is absolutely the most important thing you need to stock. It is one of the more difficult things to stock because you need space for it. I do have a video about how to do that you can go check out. FEMA says you need to store at least 1 gallon a day per person. So for a 2-week period, that's 14 gallons per person. So multiply that times the number of people you have in your family and the number of pets you have in your family. The next thing you're gonna need is at least 2 weeks of food. And I'm talking about shelf-stable food that is basically dry, like peanut butter and jelly, bread, crackers, granola bars, protein powders, protein bars, things that you can just open and eat. Because one of the other disruptions that we could have is lack of electricity or lack of hot water or lack of the ability to cook anything. So just have food that you can eat. This can be MREs, it could be emergency foods that you can just pour water in, but if you need to heat them up, that may or may not work out. It would be good to get some things that you can just not cook. Trail mix is another good thing, beef jerky, peanut butter, anything like that, just to help get you through that initial period. The next thing you need is backup lighting, just because if your electricity is out, you're gonna need a source of light. This could be flashlights, lanterns, obviously battery powered, so you're gonna need to have those things either charged up or batteries to put inside them so that they will work. So this is something that's super important. It's very frustrating to try to get anything done when the lights are out. So as many different light sources as you can get. I would get several lights, like several lanterns for your house so you can set them in different rooms. If your electricity is out, you're not gonna want to waste, say, potential generator power on that type of thing. It is some kind of portable power source. You can get a generator, you can get a solar generator. A propane generator is loud and it's usable, and you can keep your refrigerator going with that. You can turn on a light here and there, but you can't really get everything going unless you have one of these massive generators that are super loud. A solar generator, same deal. The bigger ones you get, the more you can keep on. The bigger solar generator you get, the more things you can keep on, but it really sucks the power fast. So you'd need a pretty big one. If you only have a smaller one that can, say, keep your refrigerator going, then that's all you're going to be able to keep going is that. So that's just something to think about. If there's emergencies and you want to buy a generator, you're not going to be able to find one. So this is the type of thing you need to prep now, because by the time there is an emergency and you think, oh, I need a generator, well, guess what? They're just all going to be gone. You're not going to be able to buy a generator. So you need to have one now. If all you can get is a smaller one for now, that's a great start. As time goes on, I'd say try to get a bigger one, or you can, some of these generators you can extend, you can add on to them. I can show you the one I have. I'll throw a picture up here somewhere so you can see what I've got in my garage. I've got a larger one, but by all means, it is not going to keep my entire house going, but it will keep several things going. and it's a solar powered one. So as long as the sun's out, I can charge up, and that is much quieter, which is why we got that, because I don't really like the propane ones. They're just so noisy. But if that's all you got, that'll work. The next thing you're gonna need is medicines. You're gonna need all your prescriptions to be filled, maybe even get them filled ahead of time, and all your over-the-counter medicines. Anything that you might need that is at the store could be just gone very quickly. We all know that during COVID, lots of things were off the shelves pretty quickly. Medicines were one of them. You couldn't find Tylenol anywhere. You couldn't find a lot of these medicines. People just went in and bought it all up. So you need to have a good stock of the medicines you normally use in your family. And that leads right into basic medical supplies. You need a really good first aid kit. You can buy them pre-made, super easy, or you could stock your own. Just make sure you have all the little bandages and gauze and Neosporin and scissors and disinfectants and things like that that you might need in case there's an emergency. You may not be able to get to the doctor. The doctors might not be open. In case of World War III and it's really bad and we have some kind of stuff happening here, you want to have all your important documents in a kind of grab and go binder, like your driver's license, your passport, your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, your house deed, your insurance documents, anything that you consider to be an important paperwork item. You need to have at least copies of it, probably your originals, in a grab and go folder that you can just grab and go, take it with you really quickly if you need to get out of the area that you're in and go somewhere else for a while. The next thing you need to have is cash on hand. You need to have cash in small bills. If we have a disaster here and you're trying to go to the banks could be closed, electronics can be shut down, your bank cards won't work, your credit cards may not work. You need to have cash so that you can get the things that you need. And if that means you're gonna be buying things from your neighbors or from a store, you're gonna need smaller bills that you won't need change from, because possibly people won't have any change to give you. So if you only have $100 bills, you're gonna pay $100 for whatever the thing is. So it's better if you have small bills, at least a few $100s, maybe $1,000, maybe more, depending on what you think. The next thing you need that's really important if you have a major disruption is a communication plan for your family. You need to figure out how your family is going to get in contact with each other if the cell phone towers aren't working, or if you're in different places at different times. And if you're in, say, a critical area where something could happen and you don't know what to do or how to get in contact with people, you need to have some kind of plan in place. Whether that is hey, if anything crazy happens, meet at the house, meet at my work, meet wherever you think, meet at the school, meet somewhere that is neutral and safe. Maybe a secondary place as well in case the first place doesn't work. You just need to have a plan that you know how to find each other if you can't just call each other easily on a cell phone. The last item I think you really need to think about having is protection for your family. Now, not everybody's comfortable with this, and you might have to think about that for yourself, but you need to decide what type of protection. You need to learn how to use it, most importantly, and you need to decide if this is something that you're willing to use. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. But it's just something I thought I'd throw on there. If things are really crazy and you need to protect your house, your supplies, or your family, you're going to need something to do that with. So you can decide what works for you and your family and your ideas about that. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because I think that should be higher on the list for some people. But if you're not one to normally want to have that, then I want it to be on the list just so it's something that you can think about. These preps are for your normal family. I want just your normal family, or maybe even your normal mom who lives in suburbia, to think about prepping these items. They're not really difficult. They're not extreme tactical gear. They're just kind of normal preps for a normal family that can get you through the first couple of weeks of any kind of disaster. But if it's a World War III or a sort of a military type action in the area that you're at, then these are just sort of the basic things that you might wish you had. This list could go on and on. There are more things, but this is a starter. So I'm sort of hoping that this will just get you thinking and get you started on your path to preparing. I'd love to hear what you think about this list. Please tell me if you think this is a good list or if you think I missed something. I'd love to hear in the comments, and we can all benefit from that. So stay around for my next video. I'll post it, and I'll see you next time. Hey, if you enjoyed that video, I thought you might like to check out this video next. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.